Hello everyone and welcome back to Adastra. Really want to know who the fuck is saying this and why, so let's just get into it. My name is Declan, the trainer professional, blah blah blah. Get up, someone says. I jump at the same time I feel Amicus jolt against me. We both struggle to sit up while pulling the covers up around us. Oh, it's Cato and he looks pissed. Get out of the bed, or out of the bed. The jarring appearance of Cato has me staring at him in surprise, unsure of what to do. Amicus immediately moves, though, pulling me off the bed with him, standing slightly in front of me as he hands me the blanket to cover myself up. We both stare at Cato, the old wolf actually shaking with fury. Make yourself decent, Amicus! Amicus hurriedly snatches up underwear from the dresser, giving me one of my own as well. As I'm struggling to tie mine on, I notice Cassius standing in the doorway, something shiny and flashing with lights in his paw. What the fuck? He doesn't have the usual sour look on his face, though. Instead, he almost looks scared. Cato lets us stand in silence for a moment before turning his head towards the door. Felix, enter! Felix? I hear shuffling around out in the hallway, and Cassius moves to the side to allow a neatly robed wolf to enter. He looks about as old as Cato, although nowhere near as big. He moves timidly, looking about with his ears down. Yes, your Imperial Majesty. Is that the alien you treated for avian pox? Which I kind of figured out is basically this planet's equivalent of bird flu, avian, bird, pox, flu. Cato jerks his head at me, keeping his eyes on Felix. Felix turns to look at me, and I can tell that he's trying to think of the right thing to say. We're in trouble for existing. Finally, he just gulps and nods his head. Yes, I treated him 3 nights ago for avian pox. And his species has no profile. No, I could only tell that he was a primate. How is he conscious? Come, escort Felix to the dungeons. Oh, fuck. This line on my shirt is lining up with the line of the game footage, and it's freaking me out. But also, the fact that Felix is going to the dungeon. What the hell? Yes, Cato. What? Why the dungeons, Your Majesty? Felix looks imploringly at Cato before the probes enter. Proceed to the hall or risk being shot, Felix. Please, what is happening? Even while he speaks, Felix backs away out of the room, Cato completely ignoring him. We're fucked. We're an illegal alien, literally. Because we had no profile, we are... Ooh, this is not good. We all listen to the doctor's stumbling steps out into in the echoing hall, the wolf making an attempt to ask Cassius what's happening before things fall silent again. Cassius, come in and close the door. He's not doing good either. But fuck him, I don't give a shit. Cassius, looking even more scared now, steps inside and allows the door to close. Cato stares at the two of us. At this point, Amicus has one paw on my arm, keeping me firmly halfway behind his back. I'm still able to look around his shoulder at the furious-acting Emperor. Slowly, I'm starting to realize what might be happening right now, and Cato's next words confirm it. Amicus, did you make first contact? Amicus is silent for a beat, but responds in a strong, confident voice. No, of course not. What in the world are you talking about, Cato? Cato stares, jaw clenched, then screams at us at a volume I didn't think he was capable of, and I surely cannot emulate in this house. Do not play games with me, Amicus! I would do it if I was comfortable. To his credit, Amicus only jumps a little bit, his grip still firmly on my arm. The silence that follows rings in my ears as Cato seems to work to calm himself down. When he speaks again, his voice is barely above a whisper. He is unprofiled. All children, abandoned or not, are profiled. He is not a simian, so what is he? Amicus is frozen, and I feel my stomach drop, so I'm gonna piss myself. I see Cato working his jaw. And is it true he's your lover? Lover? How do you know anything about that? Did y'all remove the recording device from the room by chance? Or did you sort of ignore that? Amicus doesn't answer this time, and that seems to be enough for Cato.
Fine, do not answer. We will take precautions. Come!
Yes, Cato.
Oh shit. He said,
Terminate William.
no! Amicus simultaneously throws himself in front of me while reaching back and hugging me to him with both paws backing me against the wall. Drones begin to enter the bedroom, but Cato barks out another order.
Pause last directive.
Pausing last directive.
My view is obscured now, but I can hear Amicus's heavy breathing, my heart hammering so hard that I can feel it through his back. Once again, Cato allows the silence to stretch out before speaking.
Then tell us the truth, Amicus. You must not harm him. Otherwise, I will give you nothing, and I'll have you thrown in the dungeon when I become emperor.
Ooh, that's playing a hand you don't have. Oh no! Why is the footage not keeping up? Has this been happening the whole time? Oh shit. Okay, this is essentially what we're looking at. Cato's in the middle of the room, Cassius looking scared, Amicus looking pissed. Let's see if it keeps up. Okay, so it was just stuck for a little bit. Sorry about that, and sorry for the fact that I didn't notice it for 7 goddamn minutes. More silence. I wince, wondering how that could have possibly been the right thing to say. Then I hear a low growling sound. One I'm sure is coming from Cato.
How dare you? You think you'll become emperor after this? In fact...
I hear a quick movement, and the next thing I know, Amicus is wrenched from in front of me. Ooh! I watch as he slides across the floor before Cato pounces on him, pinning him there.
Cassius! Grab the alien! Set the Nervo to lethal.
No, please! I'm frozen, but I manage to look over at Cassius, who seems just as frozen as I am, holding up the Nervo in his trembling paws.
Move, you idiot!
Cassius jumps and hurries over to me. I start to pull away, but he grabs me in an awkward hold, setting up the Nervo against my neck. No! Amicus struggles double, and Cato is bucked around like he's on a mechanical bull.
Cease struggling, Amicus! He will not be harmed if you do as I say!
Amicus seems to calm down a bit at that, panting wetly against the floor as he looks straight at me, face full of desperation.
You've proven yourself to be an incompetent fool, even more so than I had originally thought. You've endangered our entire empire. For this, you will not become emperor. Rules be damned! It's a wonder how you thought you'd get away with this. It can only be a miracle that the monitors have not found out, and they surely would if you became emperor with that thing.
Cato stands and wrenches Amicus to his feet, twisting the other wolf's paws behind his back hard enough that Amicus lets out a bark of pain.
The third trial begins today. You will lose, and Cassius will become emperor.
Cato begins to push Amicus to the doorway.
Do as I say, and I will let the alien live. Otherwise, we can do all of this in the most unpleasant way possible. Understand?
Amicus is quiet until Cato shakes him by his pinned arms.
Oh, yes. Good. Now, to the amphitheater. We will do this quickly. Do not make any stupid moves, otherwise I will let the drones escort you instead.
Cato presses Amicus to the door. I see Amicus glance back at me, look on his face one of utter helplessness. They're out the door by the time Cassius realizes he's supposed to be following. He jumps before awkwardly pushing me after them. Damn. It's already sunset when we get to the amphitheater. We must have slept for the most of the day. Amicus and Cato are already standing in the center of the amphitheater as Cassius struggles to move me down the steps.
Sit him down, Cassius, and get down here!
Shakily, Cassius plants me down on one of the stone steps before suddenly undressing. That's when I notice that he's tucked the Nervo into his waistband. Possibly because of the frantic nature of the whole situation, Cassius seems to have forgotten it, and I watch it fall into his clothing as he drops it from his waist. He then stumbles his way down to the center. Amicus, meanwhile, stands stiffly next to Cato, his paws clenched, and I feel my heart sink as I see the look on his face. He has no idea of what to do. Several camera drones had followed us to the amphitheater, their lights glowing an ominous red. For several moments, Cato watches them arrange themselves around the small theater, their lenses flashing in the fading light.
Cato?
What, Cassius?
There was no trial scheduled for today. How will this be broadcast anywhere?
This will not be live. I'll think of a reason to tell the people later. We only need a single clip of you being victorious. They will never believe this.
Amicus is putting on a brave face. I can hear his voice shaking.
Pugnu is a combination of skill and luck, and it's not always the strongest that wins. We will manage.
And how... Cato suddenly whirls on Amicus, throwing a punch so hard into his jaw that the other wolf spins almost 360 degrees before collapsing on the hard floor of the amphitheater. I'm standing up without even remembering to doing so, heart hammering in my throat as I look down at Amicus. He doesn't move. Meanwhile, Cato shakes his paw lightly, like it only stung a little bit. Cassius, on the other hand, is clasping both ears in his paws, staring down at his brother in a mix of shock and horror.
Cato! What are you doing?
Making it look more authentic is all.
Amicus stirs on the ground then, groaning and pushing himself up. I see dark spots forming under his face, blood dripping from his nose. The camera drone drifts down slowly, filming Amicus as he spits blood. I realize then that I have to do something. I've been told to sit on the sidelines for far too long, and I'm not entirely convinced that I'm going to be okay after this. I'm a risk to the entire Empire. Why would Cato let me live after I'm done being useful? I have to do something. So I quietly sit back down and lean over to reach into Cassius's pile of clothes, quickly finding the Nervo and pulling it out. Then I stand back up and take a step downward, and no one seems to notice.
Come on, Amicus, get up! You need to grapple with Cass.
Why didn't we just use makeup instead?
There's no time.
Cato finally bends down to grab Amicus under the arms and heave him up to his feet. The big wolf left to stumble unsteadily, blood's running down his chin.
Cassius, get Amicus in an ankle lock and drop him. That should be enough.
They set up their scene, even though Amicus seems almost completely out of it. All of them are distracted, and I realize that this might be my only chance. Oh, God! Slowly, I take one step at a time down toward the center of the amphitheater. Meanwhile, Cassius is struggling to pick up Amicus's leg, almost losing his own balance as he does. After that, Cato tells Amicus to fall back, which the wolf does, slowly. Cassius pins him on the ground after that, and I don't think it looks convincing at all. That doesn't really matter now, as I'm only a few steps from the ground floor.
Now, stand and raise your paws in victory, Cass. Look proud.
At this moment, things start to move in slow motion. Amicus is flat on his back, but he's looking right at me. An ankle lock isn't a pin. That's a submission move. There's a questioning look in his eyes, then a pleading one, as if urging me to step back. I don't. Instead, I take the final step down onto the floor of the amphitheater just behind Cassius, moving towards Cato. But the white wolf continues to celebrate his pretend victory, and he turns with raised paws to face me. I see the sudden recognition on his face. I run out of options and jam the Nervo right into his chest. Instantly, Cass is shot backwards several feet to crumple next to Amicus, shivering and convulsing. Before I can even turn to Cato, though, the old wolf is on me, grabbing the Nervo out of my hands and pulling me close by the front of my robes, my teeth clacking together with how fast he does it. He's looking at the Nervo rather than me, though.
Damn it! Thank the gods that idiot didn't have it set to lethal!
Cato fiddles with the device, and I realize he's about to use it on me. I struggle, kicking at the massive wolf, but he's strong, stronger than even Amicus. But just as he flips the device around, the two metal prongs pointed at my face, I see a paw come over the top of Cato's head. Amicus grips into the metal grating of Cato's face mask, fingers locking into the gaps before he pulls. Ooh, shit. Cato screams, and I hear the horrible mix of crunching, tearing, and electronic hiss as I see red spurt from the old wolf's face for just a moment before he goes down. Amicus stares at me with wild eyes as he tries to keep Cato pinned.
Liam, run! Run to Neferu! Run!
I stare at Amicus numbly for a moment in which I want to do so much, but can't, then turn and start to run. I run as fast as I can, disappearing behind the trees and bushes just as I hear Cato yelling for Com to execute me. Hearing that, my whole body numbs up. I can barely feel my feet hitting the ground, pumping my arms as I tear through the garden. I don't even bother with the paths, just instead crashing through the foliage and brushes, scratching up the skin on my arms and legs as I trample over something covered in thorns. I don't even care as I start running, as I run straight through a 10-foot wide spider web. Ew. The massive spider in the middle hitting my chest and then falling and disappearing under my feet. The sound of Cato and Amicus struggling behind me has long since faded. Now all there is my heavy breathing and the snapping and crashing of plants around me. I wonder if maybe I should stop making noise, try to hide instead. But I worry that Com will know exactly where I am at. I know they're following me right now, and ominously I can't hear a damn thing. I can't see them either. Just the flashes of branches and greenery around me. When I finally make it to the main path to the palace, I catch my first glimpse of the drones. They're hovering further up the path, towards the amphitheater. It makes me wonder if they're stuck on a grid somehow and had been unable to follow me into the actual garden. I think about turning back and trying to hide in the garden again, just as I rush through the entrance, but realize immediately that they're too close. Sure enough, I hear a crack behind me just as I turn the corner in the main hall toward Neferu's room. I get a glimpse of it out of the corner of my eye. I'm not sure what I expected the weaponry to be. A red laser, an arc of electricity, actual bullets maybe? What I do see is a strange bending of the air in the space I'd just been in a second ago. Like looking through a warped piece of glass before suddenly it snaps back to place, making my ears pop and throwing my body sideways. I stumble, but I don't stop. Neferu's room was just a few dozen feet ahead of me, and now I can hear the drones and odd, angry buzzing like wasps.
Halt, William!
I hear Com's gentle, calm voice, a stark contrast to what he's actually doing right now. He startles me, and I put on the extra burst of speed just before I reach Neferu's door. I can only hope that he's there, otherwise I'm going to be cornered. It'll be where I die. With my breath wheezing through my throat, I throw a hand out desperately, pressing the black panel of the door. Nothing. It doesn't open. It's locked. It shouldn't be locked. I thought doors don't lock here. I see the drones out of the corner of my eye, and I pound on the door as hard as I can, screaming as loud as I can, Neferu, Neferu, help! There's a pause, and I hear something to my right that sounds like static getting louder and louder, and I press myself against the door, waiting for whatever it is the blast will do to me. Then I'm falling through space. I'm convinced then that I've died, that this falling sensation is what it's like to die. Will I land on something or just fall forever? I get my answer almost immediately as I hit the ground face first on the hard marble floor. This isn't Neferu's room. I'm dazed as there's a sharp crack behind me, and I feel the force of it sending a gust of air out over me. Oh, it is Neferu's room. Oh yeah, I just assumed that this was the Emperor's room. Oh damn, fuck, whatever. Neferu's voice yelps above me as I hear the sound of the door sliding shut.
Com, what is going on?
Disengage your door security measures, Neferu.
What's happening?
Neferu is crouching over me now, and I think he's talking to me, but Com answers him instead as the jackal starts to help me to my feet.
The child is to be terminated. Please disengage security to allow drone entry.
What? No. William, what's happening?
Neferu has pulled me to my feet at this point, looking me right in the eye. I find myself way more out of breath than I thought I was, and I try to gasp out for an answer. Amicus, Lost Emperorship.
Neferu, open the damn door!
Cato's voice crackles through the speakers above me, making me jump. It's strained and breathing heavily, and I wonder what he's doing right now, what Amicus is doing. Jackal pushes me back to stand behind him, keeping himself between me and the door. Even though he's got his face set to a stern glare, he's as calm as he always is. Cato, what a pleasant surprise to hear your voice. May I ask why you want entry into my quarters?
The Emperor's quarters, you dog! Come! Override door security!
Overriding security?
There's a hiss and click from the door, and suddenly it slides open. Quickly, Neferu backs into me, much like Amicus did earlier this morning, and I find myself pressed back into one of the pillars, the Jackal's body almost entirely covering me up. Although I know Amicus is a good deal bigger than Neferu, I'm still struck by the Jackal's size now that he's so close to me.
Step aside, Neferu, or is being shot.
Don't shoot the Jackal! Neferu, what are you doing with it?
Cato is breathing heavily, and it sounds like he's moving around.
It's your damn thing! Have you called a ship?
Oh, that fucking asshole, Alex. I fucking knew it. Yes, Your Imperial Majesty. There's more muffled moving around, and I wonder what Cato's speaking into. Maybe a drone?
Neferu, I asked you a question!
Simply protecting a fellow Camian. The pet rule. There's a moment of silence.
A what?
Camian. Neferu enunciates it very slowly. Camian. And I look up to see the back of his head, just as confused as Cato.
God, don't press so hard, cat! What do you mean, Neferu?
Cato's voice takes on a more growly tone as he turns his attention from whatever he's doing back to us. I mean that the child has been granted citizenship in the Camian kingdom, and it would be unwise to attack him. Neferu's voice takes on an almost smug tone. An attack on him would be an attack on us all, surely. You understand this, Emperor?
You lie!
Would you like to test that? There's a long pause. In the meantime, a low rumbling sound grows, audible not only through the intercom, but through the floor of the palace as well. The ship is arriving, Your Imperial Majesty. I knew Alex was a piece of shit.
Yes, I could see that, cat.
Oh, he's got his sight back. That means Amicus fucking lost. He's probably fucked up.
Neferu.
Another long pause.
We will discuss this further once I'm back in the palace. I don't know what you and Amicus have planned, but know that I'll be keeping a very close eye on you. That creature is not to leave the palace.
The wolf suddenly grunts, and I hear the voices of other wolves as well.
I'm fine. Just get me to a hospital.
There are more sounds of movement, grunting, cursing, and voices of concern before the wolf speaks to us again.
And remember, you have no way off this planet at the moment. It would be wise to do as I say.
Of course, Your Majesty. Cato grunts.
Come. Cancel last directive. Execute William if he tries to leave the palace.
Yes, Cato.
The connection suddenly cuts off, and the two of us are left to stand in silence. Finally, Neferu lets out a long, soft sigh. Damn. Jackal finally takes a few steps forward before turning to face me. Well, this situation is less than ideal. I received news that you somehow rose from the dead last night, and now this. Come, send us the physician. Even though I've caught my breath at this point, I realize that I'm sweaty and covered in scratches.
Cannot comply with directive. Felix is currently in the dungeons.
What? Why?
Under the orders of the Emperor, Neferu.
Damn. This time, the Jackal says it out of amazement rather than annoyance. Well, send bandages and a salve at least.
Yes, Neferu.
William, what happened? Where's Amicus? After a few more deep breaths, I begin to go over everything that had just happened, starting at the point where we were woken up by Cato, and ending where I'd attacked Cassius and made a run for Neferu's room. try to keep things vague, like Cato just decided Amicus was unfit for the job and wanted to illegitimately put Cassius on the throne. But of course, Neferu immediately realizes that I'm leaving things out. Then why does he want you executed? It seems odd he'd suddenly decide to do all of this now. I hesitate, and it's at this moment that the door slides open, causing me to jump and cower as the drone enters. Steady, William. It's just the medical supplies I requested. Have a seat on the bed. There are 2 beds, but the Jackal gestures to the smaller one. Dumbly, I point this out to him. Why do you have 2 beds? As I sit, Neferu sets the supplies, all laid out on the metal tray, to the side, uncorking a bottle and dipping a brush into it. He then starts to apply a dark orange liquid to the cuts on my arms and legs. Well, one's for the Emperor, and interestingly enough, this one is for the Emperor's pet. Lift your arm. I do as he says, still feeling numb as he starts to coat a rather deep cut on the underside of my arm. Can we go find Amicus? Where's Amicus, Com?
That information is confidential and only accessible by the Emperor Neferu.
I see the Jackal's eyes narrow as my stomach twists. What does that mean?
Could mean any number of things.
I clutch my hands together, feeling my anxiety grow. But is he alright? What if Cato did something to him? Neferu rests upon my shoulder.
I understand your worry for Amicus' safety, but also understand that Cato would not even think of taking Amicus' life. Your wolf is likely imprisoned somewhere after what he did.
That doesn't make me feel all that much better, but I manage to hold still as the Jackal continues to treat me. After a period of silence, though, Neferu sighs.
So, at this point, it seems like we're in a rather precarious situation. I promised Amicus that if something happened to him, I would do everything in my power to keep you safe.
Neferu pauses, and only continues when I look to meet his eyes.
It would seem that he worried about... It would seem that what he worried about has come to pass, and now I must carry out that promise, but to do that, I need you to be honest with me so that I may know exactly what we're dealing with.
I gaze at Neferu for a while, wondering how much is at stake right now. The events of the past hour have left me emotionally drained, numb, aside from the twisting anxiety of wondering what's happening to Amicus right now. I feel myself deflate. Amicus made first contact with me. Cato found out. I wait for a moment, wondering if the Jackal is just going to toss me out into the hall after learning such a terrible secret, but when Neferu doesn't say anything, I look up. I guess I expected to see a look of shock or even horror on the Jackal's face, but it mostly just looks annoyed.
You know, I had suspected such a thing, considering all the odd quirks you possess. But I also had thought that even Amicus would not be so foolish enough to do it.
I must have grown a little defensive. Hey, he didn't know. We'd been contacted by the wolves before, but we lost the history of it somehow.
Even so, he should have taken more care. That's in the past now, however. We must focus on the present.
Aren't you worried about getting in trouble?
Me? Why would I be worried?
Isn't unauthorized first contact, like, really, really bad?
Well, yes, but I'm not the one that committed the crime. The burden rests on Amicus and the other hand the wolves.
I'm merely here to help a sapient that I did not know was an uncontacted alien. Neferu starts to wrap the bandage around the deepest cut on my arm. And how did I become a citizen?
I authorized it at the embassy shortly after the deal I made with Amicus. You were never officially his pet, thus never a member of the Empire. We thought it best to simply grant you citizenship in the meantime.
You can just do that?
Oh yes, I'm the son of the Pharaoh.
Don't I have to sign something or something?
It's been taken care of.
How?
Again, son of the Pharaoh.
I sit in silence for a while, trying to comprehend all of this while still worrying about Amicus. Can we find out where Amicus is?
We will shortly.
How?
Even if it was supposedly a secret, word spreads fast in these halls.
Why are you helping me? This is all so crazy.
I've told you before, William. It's the duty of a Camian to help a sapient in distress.
I stare at the Jackal. Huh? And why else? Neferu smiles gently at me. Despite our past interactions, I consider Amicus a friend. You're very important to him, and I see it as my duty to keep you safe. And would it be strange that I consider you a friend as well? Friend. Does that have to do with the alliance? Neferu continues to smile. I suppose there are a few other reasons. Those reasons are pretty easy to figure out. Keeping me protected will keep Amicus happy, and Amicus knowing that Neferu did that will make the alliance more likely. Assuming that we get out of this mess. Obviously, Neferu won't say, but knowing this is most likely the main reason actually makes me feel a little bit better. I don't have to worry that the Jackal has some other nefarious plan in store for me.
Virginia requests access to your quarters, Neferu.
And here might be the answer to your earlier question. Granted, calm. The door slides open, revealing Virginia. Uh-oh, she looks not pleased. She doesn't look happy. Immediately, she stalks into the room, eyes on me glaring. I wonder what exactly she's waiting for, then the door slides shut. What in the name of Romanus have you done, alien? Neferu chuckles. Easy, Virginia. He's been through quite a lot in the past hour. Easy? Cassius and Cato are in the hospital. Amicus is in the dungeons. Cassius is to become emperor. Our plans are in ruins, Neferu. Our plans. Uh-oh. The wolf folds her arms and walks around slowly so that she can better look at me. What happened? My first instinct is to stay quiet, cross my eyes in that dull, vacant stare and pretend not to understand, but then I realize I don't have to anymore. I come to this realization after the second trial, but now that everything has fallen apart, now I actually have some protection, I find myself bristling at the she-wolf's accusing stare. Cato's a complete monster. He staged the third trial so that Amicus would lose. I used the Nervo on Cassius, and should have done the same to Cato, then Amicus ripped his visor off. Virginia gives me a look of surprise, probably not expecting me to be so honest. Or maybe she's just shocked at how brutal things got. She then looks at Neferu, who nods in response. But why? That's when I hesitate again, but again, I feel like it doesn't matter much anymore. Amicus made first contact with my species. What? Wolf looks horrified, bringing a paw to her muzzle. Now this is the kind of reaction I'd expect. Why would he do such a thing? I don't know. His research on my planet told him otherwise, I think. Virginia just stares at me, then looks away toward the door. Honestly, knowing your brother, it's not all that surprising. I know my brother's an idiot. I didn't know he's psychotic. Now I really bristle. The idiot thing might be kind of true, but talking about Amicus like this after everything that's happened while he's sitting in the dungeons, wherever those are, it makes me angry. Hey, he had no reason to believe we weren't part of the Galaxias, the library, or archives, or whatever the fuck told him that we were. He just panicked and rushed things when he found out the truth. Neferu and Virginia stare at me, looking unconvinced. I sigh. So where are the dungeons? Is he okay? Can I see him? Virginia paces around to the side, staring into the fountain. He was stunned by a drone, but he was conscious as he was escorted. The dungeons are under the palace, possibly just under our feet. I look down automatically at the marble floor, picturing the wolf sitting down there. Can I see him? Obviously not. Cato has allowed access only for himself. That authority will pass on to Cassius when he becomes emperor. I continue to stare at the floor. I feel better now that I know that he's at least alive, but I want to see him. I need to see him. So what do we do now? I like to see that Virginia is talking to Neferu. I'm working on it. This will take some time to sort out. And it was all going so well. As it often does before it falls apart. What are you talking about? Gina glances at me in mild surprise, like she forgot I was there. It does not concern you, William. You look injured. Why don't you rest? I stand up. Look, I think by now you should know that I'm not some idiot slave for you to order around anymore. It was an act. I understand everything you say, and I know all of you have your own little agendas. I see Virginia bristling, but I just don't care anymore. But honestly, I don't really give a fuck what either of you want. I just want to help Amicus. So if that's part of this plan you're talking about, then I want to know about it. Two aliens stare at me. Then Neferu starts laughing, but I cut him off. Stop acting like everything's so fucking amusing to you. This isn't funny. Amicus is in trouble, and even though he put me in this mess, he's the only one I know for sure that gives a damn about what happens to me. Thankfully, the jackal does stop laughing, regarding me with those blue eyes. You're right, William. I apologize. I was just not expecting such a powerful retort. I like it. He then turns to Virginia. He's a part of this as much as we are. I believe he should know what we're up to. Virginia sniffs. Granting him Camian citizenship seems to have bolstered his boldness. I wonder if that was a mistake. It was necessary. Neferu then turns to me. William, these plans were meant to be set in motion once Amicus became emperor. We both have interests in Amicus becoming emperor. We did not interfere in the trials, but we did plan to begin work once it had all been confirmed. All but confirmed he would become emperor. What interests? Well, it may come as no surprise that I wish to have the alliance. Virginia, on the other hand... She never glances at her. The wolf barely seems interested and shrugs her shoulders. To be his chief advisor. In the end, we both agreed that Amicus would be best to fulfill both our interests as opposed to Cassius. We simply agreed to help each other accomplish these plans of ours. Interests. I guess that's the appropriate word to describe what most relationships hinge on in this stupid empire. Do you even care that your brother's in the dungeons? I asked Virginia directly, surprising myself. Or do you just care about what interests you? Virginia scoffs at me, and Neferu gives me what I can only imagine is a warning look. I care deeply about many things. What I don't care for is being lectured by an alien who does not understand the meaning of woven legacy. I don't say anything, and Neferu coughs. Anyway... we have plans to work together to see if there might not be a way to redeem Amicus and place him on the throne. Already? Wait, did you already have plans to unseat Cassius if you won? Yes. I shake my head, realizing how much of a facade this entire empire really is. Well, then I want to help. And what would you be able to do? Well, I never had a problem with Virginia while I was pretending to be a pet. I find talking to her with her directly to be rather unpleasant. But I guess it makes sense that she'd be bitter towards me. I'm technically the reason her brother's in the dungeons, and her chance of being advisor is now 0 under Cassius. Virginia may be right, William. You're on unstable ground with Cato and Cassius, the two most powerful wolves on the moon. You should probably stay hidden in my quarters for the foreseeable future. I frown. All day, every day? Yes. I don't like the sound of that at all. Well, it could be useful if the third trial was truly staged. Obviously, your word doesn't hold much weight, but if we can find footage to go along with it, we might be able to put a dent in Cato and Cassius's image. I look at Virginia, and she's already stalking off towards the door. Unfortunately, I have to attend a meeting in Cato's stead, for obvious reasons. We'll have to discuss all this in depth later. As she reaches out for the black panel, I suddenly have an idea. Virginia? She doesn't say anything, but her ears perk. Could you talk to Cassius when he's emperor about letting me see Amicus? I just want to make sure he's okay. A short pause as the door opens before I see her nod her head. I'll see what can be done. With that, she steps out and the door closes behind her. I'm left alone with the jackal, my new, well, not master. Guess more of a partner. He smirks at me. Try not to antagonize her too much in the future. She started it. I recognize that, and it is wise of you to put your foot down, not only with her, but with me as well. But she's very smart, very, very smart, and it's essential that we have her on our side. He's not wrong. I realized just before she left that she's basically my only connection to Cato and Cassius, both of whom I doubt would want to talk to me. Now, Jackal moves to the door himself, calling over his shoulder.
Unfortunately, I also must take my leave. I'm going to gather a bit of information from the city. I'll be back towards the end of the day. Again, try to stay inside this room. It's locked to everyone but the Emperor.
With that, the Jackal leaves the room as well, leaving me alone in the room. I lay back, wondering how things went so wrong so fast. I don't like any of this, and just like my first day on this moon, I feel out of place and completely out of my element. I just wish Amicus was here. I roll over, hugging the pillow as I try to fall asleep. Damn. There's still more! Holy shit! This episode's gone on long enough, and I have no idea how much is left of the game, so we'll see, I guess. But until next time, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching. Let's go ahead and do the Ansley talking bit. On the left, you see there are patrons. Thank you very much to the patrons from Patreon. In the middle, you have links to Patreon and a link to subscribe. On the right, you have a video that is the most recent one I've uploaded, as well as one recommended just for yo ass. There's links to a bunch of shit in the description. And until next time, guys, thank you for watching. Bye!